Guys, I've had an eventful day so far. I was able to take a trip down to my local library, and I got 2, not 1, but 2 books today. If y'all could have been there, if only I could have filmed, which I could have, but I didn't, because I was caught up in the moment of being at the library. I was excited. I was actually excited, and thus I didn't get no footage, but maybe next time. I have the homework machine, and I have Diary of the Wimpy Kid. No brainer. I am excited to see how these 2 books go, and hopefully we can get them done by the end of the 2 weeks that I have them for. I might be able to recheck them out. I'll have to see when the time gets there. But for now, I actually have to retouch up on my makeup because I done already rubbed at my eye. You'd think it would be easy not to, but it's not easy for me, I guess. So it won't take too long. I see you there. It's not gonna take too long. So the whole little time that I did with getting ready, I was trying to figure out what was either missing or what needed to be added to the look to make it really come together, because it looked good, but it could have been better. And after so much time, it was like the bow placement and my hair. Like, this is way better. I think with how I think it's way better. But that whole time I was trying to figure out, and now I finally got it. Woohoo! I've been meaning to practice my songwriting skills for a while now, and I just never got back to doing it. But today I am. Actually, y'all will be able to see, well, it's not really behind the scenes because it's just practice. It's not an actual song, or it's not even about to get released. It's just how I songwrite despite it not being released. And yeah, it's just practice. So this is what I got right now. And making the melody and the actual song, I've tried it before, and I do have something in the works right now. But as for this, like I said, it's practice. So it's generated music from the program I use. So that's what I'm going to be using to come up with something totally random today. And I mean totally random. That sounded like a mix of sarcasm. It's not. Trust the process, and this is kind of the same thing with art and drawing and sketching. You have to trust the process, because it's absolutely not about to make sense that first half, the beginning, when you start out. This sounds terrible, but it gets better. It has the potential to get better, and that's what I'm working off of. I know I have the creativity. If it doesn't sound good right now, within the future or whatnot, and this goes for everybody, if it doesn't sound, look, or even feel good right now, maybe there's just something you're missing, something you haven't learned yet to put towards what you're trying to do. And maybe in the future, you could, if you still have the project, you can look back at this and be able to fix it, and it'll be like, wow, I didn't think I could do this. I didn't, with trash, but alright. Okay, I'm mute that. I have the melody in my head so I can go back. So if I do forget it, have the melody right there, and I have the melody in my head. So if I forget it, I can go back and be like, yeah. Alright, how about check this out, check this out. You can see the stars, we can go so far. I like that, I think. Cause when I'm thinking of the name, I'm thinking of this pink convertible and this like ombre looking Hollywood type scenery. Palm trees everywhere, the convertible going fast. It's like a 90s, not a 90s, but it's very vibrant, it's very colorful. It's then where the stars go? I make my own rule. Okay. Okay, let's run it back, because that's actually the whole song. You can see the stars, we can go so far, leave it all behind, driving on the boulevard, candles fading out. When it leaves talking about the shiny rocks, rush against the docks, pink, blue and green, orange, purple, burgundy, a real sight to be seen. That last part with the pink, blue and green, yeah, I improvised that. Yay! That was lyric or songwriting practice for today. Wow. I actually thought I would have a harder time with that, but that was actually really fun. It was really fun. Alright. Go me. So, after a while of being out of school, I decided to go back and review some things, just take it a little back from stuff that I hadn't reviewed in a long while, and being specific, state capitals. No, I am not being sponsored for Kahoot, but Kahoot is a really good review site if you are looking to study something, which was used back in middle school when I was in school. I loved hearing its theme song. I have an idea for a story I'm going to be working on. It's not going to be released. This is just for fun, like small little project for me. Just to do it, just for the heck of it. I'm writing a fan fiction of Helga and Arnold, and it's going to revolve around either them starting high school, or maybe ending high school, or going into like university or the college life, somewhere around there. I did so much to make sure, or to get a surface of their personalities and how they talk, their dialogue and whatnot. I've literally binge watched all 5 seasons of Hey Arnold and the movie. I rewatched the movie I watched with my family just so I could get a good starting point on how they react with each other, how they go about. I know it's just for fun story, so it's not something that I had to take seriously. It's just something that I was fixated about, because I think it's cool to write your own stories about like characters and stuff, even if it's not like canon, not real. But I like the fact, I think that's why I like books so much. You can make them real in the sense of writing, So I wanted to share with you guys my little thought process. Let's change the color up. I wanted to share with you guys the thought process I have for this fanfic in which I have not came up with a name, but I think I have a few. Let's just go one at a time. All right, where should I start? I didn't even try to do this, but this is perfect light color because if you guys know Hey Arnold and you know Helga, her main color scheme is pink. I think she might like red. I feel like as she got older, she probably went into the red spectrum, but I think her favorite color would still be pink. I also think she'd at times wear her bow, but I think I imagine her getting out of the pigtails like at the beginning or in middle school and changing it to like wearing it down or something. But here's the what I got for the start of this story. I'm gonna just read it straight out because, you know. So the origin of the rift, a day before the move. I say this because my gosh, I have this. I have it organized, but it's not organized to where I can like explain it. Okay, I see where I can start. So the characters, Arnold and Helga, and all their friends, of course, are 18 years old. The core premise, the movie confession never happened, and what I mean by that is in the jungle, the recent movie of Hey Arnold, the jungle thing that happened, Helga did confess to him, and I think by the end of the movie they were together, but it wasn't really said. It was just like subtle gestures that happened, you know. Even though she was still sassy with him. I think didn't they end up holding hands? I rewatched the movie. Why did I forget it? Anyway, that never happened. It never happened. Helga's feelings are unconfessed, and since the move, in which her family does, it builds. It just builds over time. Past event. Something significant happened in the past. A major fight, a move, which does happen. I'm thinking of making that a flashback, like the very beginning of the story. The story is going to open up, and it's going to be treated as a flashback, a fight. Like, Helga is known for constantly picking on Arnold, and so it takes that one bad day, that last one bad day, where Arnold is just already fed up with the day he had, and Helga's already emotional, and so when you mix that with how they encounter each other, I can really see a fight breaking out. Not a fight, a verbal, like, you know, he's already upset, so he's gonna tell her off, and then when she goes to leave, that's the last time they see each other till like fast forward years later. So the tone is slice of life, a little bit of angst, and comedy. So yeah, that's where we're at. Key plot questions to explore. What happened in the past that caused the rift separation? The big fight, as I just explained. Helga pushed Arnold too far with an insult, or Arnold finally snapped at her over something. Maybe it was an misunderstanding that escalated. This could lead to a period of them. Yeah, like I just explained. Or option B, Helga moved away, which that's going to happen. It has to. Her family moves to a different part of the city, or even another state for a few years during middle school. When she returned for high school, Arnold had already started dating Sarah. Now, I thought of getting him to date like Ruth. Like maybe she changed into like a nicer. I don't think she was bad, so to say. She was just self-centered. And I guess as you get older, you do start to realize that, you know, some things are, yeah. So either way, this new girl, Sarah, he's dating, yeah, and the old dynamic is broken between Arnold and Helga. Option C, Arnold ignored her after an attempted confession, which could happen, I feel like, before the fight, but not, like, it's just a random day before the fight where she had originally tried to, once again, because in the show she tried multiple times, like she was this close, and it just never happened. Or option D, or hold on, Helga almost confessed or made a vague gesture, and Arnold, oblivious, or perhaps put off by her usual rough exterior, simply didn't pick up on it, leading her to retreat further. Or option D, they drifted apart naturally. And that's what kind of happens, you know, especially between the middle school, high school phase. Definitely, yeah. As often happens in middle school, their friend groups diverged, and their paths simply stopped crossing as much, only to be forced back together in high school. This is less dramatic, but can still create emotional distance, which I'm going for. How does Helga currently interact with Arnold and Sarah? The silent, suffering friend. She's still part of the broader friend group, which would be her, Phoebe, Gerald, Stinky, what was that? Sid. What else? Roni. What was the pink dude name? The big pink dude name? I forgot. God, I forgot, but I'm gonna look it up later. Anyhow, but internally, and I know she seems like an emotional character, but really, I like Helga because of her complex character. She acts all bad, she acts all tough, she's all this on the outside, but on the inside, she's so poetic and emotionally intelligent. That's how I would say. But she doesn't have an outlook to put it all. So yeah, it comes out either as a burst or it's through her sassiness, bullying techniques, you know? Her usual snark might be heightened towards Sarah, or she might be usually quiet and reserved around Arnold. And this is in her teenage phase. Like, this is like 16, 17, 18. Like I said, I don't know exactly where I'm going to place them. I feel like if I started at the beginning of high school, it's kind of cliche, but if I start them at the beginning of college, I don't really have a lot of information about, you know, the college life. I can only assume. And I really like to be kind of accurate with like projects like this, whether it's like painting, sketching. I'll try to be accurate as possible. So the second trait of her interaction with Arnold and Sarah would be the avoidance tactic. She actively tries to avoid situations where she'd see them both together, but fate keeps throwing them into the same spaces. School events, group hangouts, part-time jobs, projects that teachers put you in. It's like a super. The fake cheerfulness mask. She's great at doing it. It's not in the show though. It wasn't cheerful attitude. It was more like insult attitude. But I feel like I could just, yeah. She puts on a brave face, acting completely nonchalant or even too friendly with Sarah, which is its own form of torment and ripe for comedic awkwardness. And I was actually thinking for this idea that the whole point is character development. Since they are older, they're aged up. So yeah, her bullying is probably like a little, it's become watered down. So she's had time to, like, you know, grow up, you know, become a little bit mature, you know. And everybody knows that Helga in the show was mature. It was just how she outwardly dealt with folks. But her sarcasm is still there. That's not going away. And that's why I was binge watching the seasons, so that I can really get her character down. Arnold's not that bad because he's how do I say, passive. Helga, complex. And then you look at the other characters in the show, the other kids, and they all got their own personality. I really liked Stinky and Sid was something else, but that's plot. Yeah. Okay. What are Arnold's feelings, perceptions? Arnold's oblivious. He genuinely has no idea about Helga's feelings and sees her only as an old, complicated friend from his childhood. He might be concerned about her mood swings, but attributes it to typical Helga behavior. Vaguely aware of Arnold, he might have some inkling in the past, but dismissed it or sees her current behavior as just classic Helga, not really realizing the depth of her pain. He might feel a lingering sense of responsibility or guilt over their past rift, but not fully understanding why. Loyal boyfriend Arnold. He's happy with Sarah and genuinely cares for her, making Helga's situation even more painful. He might be slightly annoyed by Helga's occasional barbed comments towards Sarah, but doesn't connect it to anything deeper. What are Sarah's characteristics? And for her, since she's like a new character, I have not designed her a design yet. Like, I've already sketched out these two, what I think they'd look like based off of, you know, fan art from Pinterest and stuff. Sarah, I think she'd be sweet and unsuspecting, kind of like Lila, that one girl. She's genuinely kind and making it harder for Helga to hate her, just like Lila was her name, increasing the internal conflict for Helga. Slightly annoying. She might have a few traits that get under Helga's skin, making Helga's dislike slightly more justifiable to herself. Anyway, perceptive. Perhaps she does notice Helga's intense gaze or the subtle tension and starts to become uncomfortable or curious. And then it goes into potential plot arcs. The group project, Helga, Arnold, and Sarah get stuck. Maybe Gerald and Phoebe, because y'all, if you don't hate Arnold, Gerald and Phoebe, I should make a fanfic for them too. I should. Because Gerald and Phoebe, bro, it wasn't explored enough in the seasons, but it spoke for itself. The way they look at each other, and the Valentine, no, what's the Valentine? Anyway, the swan boat ride, and even in the Jungle movie, they were actually holding hands, like. But like, I would want to see what daily life with these two would actually be like, and that would be kind of cool to kind of explore, give like idea of it. Like I don't know. Anywho, I know I'm talking our heads off. There's a lot to go over. So over the course of maybe, I don't know, but it's gonna be explored. Anyway. The group project. Helga, Arnold, and Sarah, maybe Gerald or Phoebe, are forced to work together on a school project. This creates forced proximity, awkward moments, and opportunities for Helga to witness Arnold and Sarah's chemistry firsthand. Or the school dance / prom. A classic scenario, Helga has to decide whether to go, who to go with, and whether she can bear to watch Arnold and Sarah together. I feel like she'd, just like in the shows in the season, she wouldn't go to her prom. She wouldn't go to her prom or any homecoming if she has to watch these two. But maybe something does forces her to go. And I don't know. I don't have it all. It's just plot for what could happen, you know? the part-time job. Helga gets a job at a place where Arnold and Sarah frequently visit, maybe like a gas station, or since it's based off of modern arcade places, that would be cool. Maybe the movie theater, cinema. Maybe a little cafe, a restaurant. I think I could see Helga working at a cafe, a cozy one. Thing is, how long would she work there before she actually tells a customer off, or she actually just loses her mind? Which one? Is it really different? Okay. The crisis. A minor crisis occurs where Helga's unique skills, street smarts, and toughness are needed, forcing Arnold to rely on her, temporarily rekindling their old dynamic and trust, but then pulling back when Sarah is present. You can't tell me that's not no juicy story. Okay, Phoebe's intervention. Phoebe notices Helga's suffering and tries to gently push her towards honesty and offers comforting advice, but Helga, being Helga, resists. Gerald's observation. Gerald, as Arnold's best friend, might notice the tension or Helga's distress. He might try to talk to Arnold, but Arnold remains oblivious, or Gerald isn't sure how to approach. So he goes to talk to Phoebe, who then talks to Helga. But Helga, again, don't. It's never ending. The old hunt. They end up at a place significant to the childhood. This is perfect, because if they're in the same city, they could end up going back to either the park, the tree house, where else? Maybe the old building if it hasn't gone wrecked down, where, something Spumoni sang at? And then the art, okay. See, the old empty lot where they used to play baseball at, the corner store, or the stoop. Yeah, or the stoop. Triggering memories for both of them, and perhaps a moment of shared nostalgia that's quickly broken. I don't know, maybe a dog ran by. The accidental confession or near confession, under duress, in a moment of anger, or after too much emotional strain, Helga accidentally lets slip a fragment of her true feelings, or her usual insults take on a more painful edge, causing Arnold to finally pause. And I feel like this would be, maybe it'll be in the middle of the story. Nah, maybe at the end of the story. I don't really know. Because it always seems to happen at the end of the story. I don't know. If it's one thing, I don't want anything cliche. But it's hard to be original, but then again. And then Sarah's curiosity. Sarah starts to notice Helga's intense reactions to Arnold, or the unspoken history between them, and begins to subtly ask questions, making Helga very uncomfortable. I can actually see this. Maybe she catches her, I don't know, behind the school chewing gum or something, and approaches her or something. I don't know. I think the biggest thing that I'll have trouble with would be Helga's monologues, because when she's by herself, she gets, like I said, really poetic, and the things this girl said from the show, I'm at least hoping I can come close to it, because I do like accuracy, like I said. So that's not all I got, but that's what I'm gonna get for right now. Oh, that was I'm excited despite not starting it yet, just procrastination. Yeah. Alright. Guys, I present to you Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So it's not directly on there. Is that good? Okay. Oh, that's so cute. That's a little brain. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. No Brainer. By Jeff Kinney. To Matt, whoever that is. April. Sorry, I had something in my throat. April. Monday. The human brain is supposed to be this amazing supercomputer that's capable of all sorts of incredible stuff. But if that's true, then I don't know why my brain is always making me do stupid things. Youch. It's actually a little annoying, because if you think about it, your brain's one job is to be smart. Just over here poking a beehive nest. I wonder. No duh. I guess it's my own fault for filling my brain with things that aren't important, like video game cheat codes and theme songs to old TV shows, because now there's no room left for stuff that actually matters. The problem with a brain is that there's only a limited amount of room in there, so eventually you run out of storage. And the reason it's hard for old people to learn new things is because their brains are just full. It's called social media, and if you want to like something, you just press this little heart. Guys, I think he's onto something. Hey, you know you could do the same by going down on this video and clicking the thumbs up, or subscribe. You'll get my videos. Yeah. One of these days, they're gonna figure out a way to add more memory. And when they do, I'm gonna buy myself the biggest booster pack I can afford. Brain Boost, 25 TB. In the meantime, I'm trying to be real choosy about what I put in my brain. So when someone's telling me something I don't need to know, I just try and block it out. So then Miss O'Malley says she wasn't the one who called me a liar. So I asked her why she was talking to Miss Ferguson behind my back. La la la, I can't hear you. Roger just munching on some cereal. Is that Roger? I think that's Roger. Is his name Roger? We'll find out. When you're a kid, the thing that you use your brain for the most is school. And a lot of your brain power goes to memorizing useless stuff, like the names of vice presidents and the words to preschool songs. If you're happy and you know it, and you really want to show it, clap your hands. One thing that's really inconvenient is that your brain is inside your head, so you have to take it everywhere you go. But if they ever figure out a way to deal with that issue, then school is gonna be a whole different thing. Well, at least you wouldn't have to be there, I guess. I want you to be able to see the whole thing. I got it. Hopefully that's better. I think it would be great if your brain could at school. I think it would be great if your brain could be at school learning while you're off doing things you actually enjoy, like playing laser tag with your friends or hanging out at the arcade. Then you could pick up your brain at the end of the day and get all caught up. So what did you learn at school today? Nothing. For now, I guess we're stuck with the current situation where your body and your brain need to be in the same place. And if you're a kid, that means you've got to spend a big chunk of your time at school. My problem with that is how long the school day is. You're there for 7 hours, but you probably only spend 20 minutes a day on actually learning. And that's because most of your time is spent on stuff that doesn't have anything to do with education. Today in 5th period, we spent 0 time learning about history because a bee got loose in the classroom, and that pretty much killed the chance of anything productive happening. I wish everyone would stop fooling around and just get down to business once school starts, because that way we could get the learning part over with and be out of there before lunchtime. But I think they like to stretch things out and keep you there for as long as possible. The whole reason school was invented in the first place is because back in the olden times, kids were causing too many problems at home while their parents were at work. So they created this whole system with textbooks and lockers and algebra and physical education just to keep kids out of trouble for a few hours every day. I hope it's not too dark. You're in a school from the time you're 4 until you're at least 18. And after you're done with the education, you have to get a job and work until you reach old age. So by the time you're through with all that, you're too tired to do anything fun. If they really wanted to, they could probably teach you everything you actually need to know by the time you're 5 or 6. But I guess parents don't want to have to compete with their kids for good paying jobs. Congrats, grads. So they teach you a little bit at a time so you don't get too smart too quick. And sometimes they teach you stuff you can't even use. That's what's been happening at my school lately. I just took 3 months of Latin with a teacher named Mr. Mr. Layton. And it was my favorite class. But it turns out he didn't know Latin at all and was teaching us nonsense the whole time. Escatuso numerusco imos Gregorio. Oh my gosh. When the school found out Mr. Layton was a fraud, they fired him. So now all I've got to show for the last 3 months of my life is knowing how to order a hamburger in a language that doesn't even exist. Dang. That could never be me though. Mr. Layton isn't the only one teaching us stuff we can't really use. My social studies teacher is Miss Lakey, and this is her last year. So the only country she teaches us about are the ones she's planning on visiting with her husband after she retires. One of them happens to be the Bahamas. And for our last homework assignment, she had us research which cruise ships have the best meal plans. Oh my gosh. Make them kids do the work. I can actually say that now because I'm 19. Okay, so like free drinks, Premier Cruise Line, Queen Cruises, Island Hopper, wow. Gluten-free menu, dessert bar, salad bar. Gosh. Some of our teachers don't even bother trying to teach us anything at all. Miss Pritchard is supposed to be teaching us geometry, but she uses her new smart board for stuff like helping her pick out which breed of puppy to get. A few of the teachers are doing their best, but us kids don't always make it easy for them. Mr. Rask tried teaching science the regular way for half the year, but nobody seemed interested. Wow. So he switched to teaching about growth stuff, and even though it makes science a lot more interesting, I don't think any of the information we're learning right now is gonna help us get into a good college later on. The science behind farts. Methane, oxygen, CO2, hydrogen, nitrogen. Wow. I wish I didn't know half the stuff I've learned in Mr. Rask's class. Because ever since we watched the video about the microscopic parasites living on your skin, I can't stop itching. We don't even have an algebra teacher anymore. Miss Guan went on a maternity leave back in October, and they never found a long-term sub to fill in for her. So during fourth period, they just stick us in a computer lab and have us go on this math game website, which is sponsored by a candy company. Gobsmashers Math. How many more fruity medley gobsmashers can fit in Billy's mouth before you bust? Huh. I hope the answer is not D. Now, everyone in my grade needs candy to do math. And when we took a standardized test last month, a bunch of kids brought packs of jelly beans and bubble gum to help them count. 43, 44, 45. This dude just eating it. That's probably me. I'm not gonna lie, that's probably me. Forget counting. I probably would have done a lot better on the test if I wasn't sitting behind a kid who went through an entire jar of gobsmashers. It wasn't just the math section that was hard, though. The reading section had a bunch of essays, and the science section had questions about stuff we never covered in class. And there wasn't a single question about farts or burps. So when our school test results came back, it wasn't a surprise that our scores were the lowest in the state. In fact, our scores were so bad, we made the news. Test scores plummet. Middle school's performance nosedives. Wow. A lot of parents were really pretty upset, including mine, and I guess the superintendent was under pressure to make big changes because he fired our principal, Miss Nancy, and asked the old principal, Mr. Bottoms, to come out of retirement. Sheesh. I'm actually surprised Mr. Bottoms agreed to come back because the way my older brother Roderick, that's his name, Roderick, not Roger, described it, when Mr. Bottoms retired a few years ago, he went out with a bang. Woohoo! Dang. But I'm rooting for him to turn things around because based on my education so far, the only job I'm going to be qualified for is a cruddy middle school Latin teacher. Humbrago! Friday. Principal Bottoms has only been in charge for a few days, but he's already made some big changes. And any class that doesn't teach stuff that's on the standardized test has been cut. Which kind of stinks because he had just started the brownie baking unit in our home EC class. Wow. Things have gotten a lot more serious in the classes that weren't cut, like science. Mr. Rask isn't teaching about body smells and things like that anymore, but that doesn't mean the stuff we're learning isn't gross. Because this week he announced we were starting a dissection unit on tapeworms. I dissected frogs. Why y'all dissecting worms? Luckily, there weren't enough tapeworms to go around, so me and my partner, Tyler Geary, had to work with some noodles from the cafeteria instead. Tyler takes this science stuff pretty seriously, though, and you never think he was operating on leftover pasta. Scalpel! I guess maybe Tyler will grow up to be a surgeon one day, but I hope I don't end up on his operating table because I'll know exactly where he got his education. Greg Heffley? Gah! Everybody thinks learning science is great, but they never talk about the flip side of things. I've seen a bunch of movies where a scientist loses their mind and tries to take over the world, but you never see any movies where the villain is a mad zookeeper or mad gardener. See, that's what I'm actually saying. That's what I'm saying. The cliche. It's cliche. So, when it comes to science, I think the less you know, the better, because I don't need to be the guy who messes around and accidentally pops up a portal to the demon realm. Wow! Tyler Geary says that if we ever get to operate on real tapeworms, he's gonna try to bring one back to life by hooking it up to electrodes. And this is exactly the type of thing I'm worried about. If you ask me, you shouldn't go screwing around trying to bring the dead back to life. On top of it, just being wrong. It could also be pretty awkward. See, I'm right with you, Greg. I'm not... Your name Greg, right? I feel bad I never sent my great aunt Reba a thank you card for the birthday money she gave me a few years ago. So I don't know what I'd say to her if she was back in the picture of all of a sudden. Sorry, I couldn't find stamps. When I'm gone, I hope my family doesn't try and bring me back to life. Because if coming back means having to babysit my great-great-great-grandkids, I'd rather everyone just let me rest in peace. We'll be back after the movie. Oh my gosh, that sounds like a headache. But I probably shouldn't worry about someone in my class making a big scientific breakthrough because you need the proper equipment for that sort of thing. And my school can't even afford to give everyone the right kind of protective eyewear. So people have been bringing their own gear from home. Makeshift. It's time to make that. Make it yourself. The science lab isn't the only place in our school that doesn't have the proper equipment though. Half the laptops in the computer center have missing letters on their keyboards. And last week, I got a bad grade on a history paper when I had to use a computer that was missing all the vowels. Greg Heffley wrote history. I don't even know what that, could that be like ancient pyramids, thousands, of years ago, constriction of magnificent stress started in ancient Egypt. And so I don't even know. I tried. The area of the school where we're shortest on materials in the library. Oh, the area of the school where we're the shortest on. I'm sorry. The area of the school where we're shortest on materials is the library, because a lot of the shelves are empty. But it wasn't always like that. Back in September, we got a new librarian named Miss Maisie, who created a graphic novel section and filled it with books she paid for with her own money. The most popular books were from the series called Commando Crocodile, and no matter how many copies she brought, Miss Maisie couldn't keep them on the shelves. If you wanted to check out a copy, you had to put your name on a list that was a mile long. But I guess some parent had a problem with the way Commando Crocodile was drawn, so they filled out a complaint form. Library book challenge form. Name of book, Commando Crocodile, Tunnel Vision. Author, Maddie Jubb. Reason for challenge, Crocodile is not wearing pants. Apparently, the rule is that if one parent complains about a book, it has to be removed from the library. But Miss Maisie came up with a compromise to keep the series on the shelves. She used a marker to draw pants on Commando Crocodile, and that seemed to satisfy the parent who made us think about it. Cricky, this bloke just won't quit. I got a bone to pick with you, mate. It's getting a little chockers in here. I don't know what kind of accent that was. But then a new problem cropped up. Some kids had their own uncensored copies of Commando Crocodile at home, and they brought them to school. And when Principal Bottoms found out about it, he confiscated their copies. So then the school started checking our bags for Commando Crocodile books at the beginning of the day, which added 15 minutes to get through the doors. But kids are smart, and some of them figured out ways to sneak the books into school anyway. It turns out that complaints are contagious, because some parents suddenly noticed that there were a bunch of books in the library that had animals without any clothes. So then Miss Maisie had to spend her time dealing with that issue. Oh my gosh. Eventually, Miss Maisie gave up and put all the books that were challenged in a back room. And if you wanted to read them, you had to get permission slip from a parent. Wow, that's crazy. After a while, there were more books in the band section than the main library. So the school had to write to all the parents and ask them to donate books from home. But that just gave everyone an excuse to unload all the books they didn't want. South Country Phone Book, Teacher Cat Sign Language, Kulik Refrigerator Model XX942.3, Operating Manual, Fabulous Fungi. If you ask me, I think the whole book banning thing backfired. A lot of people donated romance novels, and the stuff in them is a lot more inappropriate than anything in Commando Crocodile. Winds of Desire, Anika Erickson. My mom says those types of books aren't real literature, but I figure as long as a person is reading, it's a good thing. Okay, I think I should. Oh, I already read 30 pages. Oh. Okay, should we go to 35? You want to go to 35? But then if we go to 35, we're gonna have to go to 40. Okay, I'm gonna see how long. How long have I been recording? 23 minutes. Oh, okay. It's already so long. We can pick back up another day. Woo! I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'm sorry. Hopefully, next time y'all be able to see the pages clearer. If you weren't able to see it clearer at this time, so yeah. Bye.